Black History Month is a great opportunity to reflect on and celebrate the African American leaders who have influenced the world of credit unions. The credit union movement began in the mid-19th century in Germany with a simple ideal that people could achieve a better standard of living for themselves and others by pooling their resources and making loans to their neighbors and co-workers. The first black credit unions were established in the 1920s and 30s to help farmers and urban groups move towards economic self-sufficiency. When the civil rights movement gained momentum in America several decades later, so did the founding of black credit unions.
Martin Luther King Jr. and the Montgomery Improvement Association, better known as the MIA, applied for a federal charter for a credit union in the 1950s, but also became a vehicle for advancing other civil rights projects, including the formation of a credit union.
Dr. King even addressed it during his I Have a Dream speech. Here's an excerpt from it.
In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice.
Under the Johnson administration, Great Society Initiative, hundreds of credit unions were formed to serve low-income groups, often in black neighborhoods, and many black-owned banks and credit unions began forming as well. With racial discrimination in the finance and housing industry, a sad but undeniable part of American history, even in modern times, black-owned finance institution plays a huge part in empowering African Americans to purchase homes and businesses and establish their credit history.
While many of the financial institutions formed in the 60s and 70s were shuttered due to the financial turmoil of the 1980s, today there remain 41 black-owned financial institutions, including 21 credit unions. It should be noted that although many low-income credit unions serve a large minority membership, not all black credit unions are considered low-income or community development institutions. Today, the African American Credit Union Coalition organizes the credit union movement, Strong Black Leaders. Several trends show that credit union membership is valued more than bank membership in minority communities. For instance, studies show on average that credit unions have a larger share of black members than banks have as customers. Given that home ownership is a big driver of generational wealth, it is noteworthy that black borrowers apply and are approved for mortgage loans with credit unions than they are with banks. Black borrowers also tend to save more on interest when they take out auto loans from credit unions than when they do from banks.
Black Americans have historically embraced the values of cooperatives, credit unions, and mutual aid societies. These movements transcended banking to become catalysts for empowerment, wealth building, and philanthropy. As we celebrate Black History Month, we can remember that credit unions' mission of serving the underserved can help further the struggle for economic justice and equality. Credit unions can inspire their members to do more than just bank with them, but to also help them change the communities that they are a part of.
Credit union history is prevalent with strong, compassionate African American leadership that has strengthened communities and influenced the industry as a whole. In December of 2021, we recently became chartered for a credit union in the oldest Black-owned municipality in the United States of America, Eatonville, Florida. So, we pause now to salute those servant leaders who will continue to shape the credit union history through the empowering of others with the unity of Eatonville Credit Union.